She didn't clean the bathroom, right? So she did get dinner. That's what my sister said about my 11-year-old, so I let them learn what hunger feels like. My parents and sister made my 11-year-old daughter clean their house for 5 hours as a game, while I worked a double shift at the hospital. When I discovered the truth, I didn't yell. I did something much worse. I'm Emily, 32, single mom to Mia who just turned 11 last month. I work as an ICU nurse, which means long shifts and even longer days when the hospital is understaffed. Last Tuesday was one of those days, a brutal 16-hour shift that left me feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. I know Reddit loves a petty revenge story, so here's mine. But fair warning, this one gets dark before it gets satisfying. When I finally dragged myself to my parents' house to pick up Mia, I expected the usual chaos. My sister, Ashley, lives there with her 3 kids since her divorce, and the place is always buzzing with activity. What I didn't expect was Ashley practically bouncing on her toes when she opened the door. How was work? You look exhausted, but guess what? We had the most amazing family bonding day with the kids. Something felt off immediately. Ashley's never this enthusiastic about anything involving actual childcare. I looked past her, scanning for Mia among the cousins sprawled across the living room watching TV. She was sitting alone on the stairs, picking at something on her hands. "Mia, baby, ready to go home?" I called out. She looked up with this weird expression I couldn't quite read, not sad exactly, but deflated, like a balloon that had been slowly losing air all day. "Mom, can we just go? I'm really tired." That's when I noticed her hands, small blisters on her palms, the kind you get from gripping something rough for too long. And her clothes, the cute outfit I dressed her in that morning, was wrinkled and had water stains down the front. "Mia, what happened to your hands?" Before she could answer, Ashley jumped in. "Oh, that's from our game. We played this awesome dare game where everyone pulled tasks from a hat. The kids had such a blast, didn't you guys?" Ethan, Ashley's 15-year-old, barely looked up from his phone. "Yeah, it was fun." But Mia just stared at her hands. Something was very wrong here. The drive home was quiet except for the radio. Mia kept rubbing her palms on her jeans, and I kept glancing at her in the rearview mirror. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. "Mia, tell me about this game you played today." "It was just dares, Mom. Everyone pulled from the hat." "What kind of dares?" She was quiet for so long I thought she might not answer. Then in this small voice, "I got cleaning ones. I had to scrub the stairs and clean all the windows and do the bathroom and Ethan's room." My hands tightened on the steering wheel. What dares did the other kids get? Sophia had to do a dance from TikTok. Caleb got to play video games for an hour. Ethan had to eat a spoonful of peanut butter. I pulled into our driveway and turned around to face her. "How long did your cleaning take?" "I don't know, a long time, like maybe 5 hours. I didn't finish the bathroom floor good enough, so I didn't get dinner. But it's okay, Mom. I wasn't that hungry anyway." My heart stopped. They made my 11-year-old daughter clean their house for 5 hours while the other kids played games, then denied her dinner as punishment for not meeting their standards. As I helped Mia out of the car, a memory hit me like a slap. I was maybe 9, standing in Ashley's room with a dust rag in my small hands. "It's the sister code, she'd said, lounging on her bed while I cleaned. "Little sisters help big sisters. That's how families work." I remembered the way my back ached, the way I'd missed my favorite cartoon, the way our parents praised Ashley for teaching me responsibility when they found me scrubbing her baseboards. Now she was doing it to Mia. After I got Mia fed and settled with her favorite movie, I sat in my kitchen staring at my phone. Part of me wanted to call Ashley immediately and unleash every curse word I knew. But something held me back. Maybe it was the nurse in me, trained to stay calm in crisis situations. Or maybe it was the memory of being Mia's age myself, doing Ashley's chores because she convinced me it was sisterly duty. I thought about all the times Ashley had pulled this kind of manipulation on me growing up, the way she'd frame her laziness as games or traditions, the way our parents always took her side when I complained, calling me too sensitive or dramatic. I made myself a cup of tea and really thought about what I wanted to accomplish here. Yelling would feel good in the moment, but it wouldn't protect Mia from future exploitation. Ashley would just get better at hiding it. No, I needed to be smarter than that. The next morning I called Ashley. My voice was perfectly calm, almost cheerful. "Hey, Ash, I wanted to thank you for watching Mia yesterday. She told me all about the dare game." "Oh, good. I was worried you might be upset about the cleaning thing, but you know how kids are, they love feeling helpful and included." "Absolutely." I completely understand what you were doing. And I did understand. I understood that she'd deliberately set up a rigged game to exploit free child labor. I understood that she'd watched my daughter work for 5 hours without food or breaks. I understood that she'd done it with our parents' full knowledge and approval. What I didn't tell her was that I'd already decided she'd never get the chance to do this again. And 9 days later, when I exposed everything to our entire extended family, she was the one begging for mercy. Update 1. Posted 2 days later. Thanks for all the support on my last post. Some of you asked for more context about my family dynamics, and honestly, writing this out is helping me process everything that happened. Growing up, Ashley was always the golden child who could do no wrong. She's 3 years older than me, and from the time I could walk, she had me convinced that helping her was just what little sisters do. I spent my entire childhood doing her chores, her homework, even cleaning her room because she told me it was sister code. Our parents thought it was sweet. "Look how helpful Emily is," they'd say, while Ashley got to play or watch TV. When I complained, they'd tell me I was being dramatic or selfish. Ashley was just teaching me responsibility and building character. The pattern continued into adulthood. When Ashley got divorced last year, guess who helped her move back in with our parents? When she needed money for the kids' school supplies, who got the call? When she wanted to go out with friends and needed a babysitter, who was expected to drop everything? Me. Always me. But I told myself it was different now because I was helping by choice, not manipulation. I was wrong. Ashley lives with our parents along with her 3 kids, Ethan, who's 15, Sophia, who's 13, and Caleb, who's 11, same age as Mia. I've been financially supporting them for months. Part of their mortgage payment, groceries, summer camp fees for the kids. We're talking about $1,200 a month total. Mia adores her older cousins, especially Sophia. She's always trying to impress them, desperate to be included in their activities. Looking back, I can see how Ashley used that against her. Yesterday, I decided to do some investigating. I drove over to my parents' house unannounced, telling them I'd left something there. While they were distracted, I went to the game cupboard where Ashley said they kept the Dare cards. I found them. A stack of index cards in a plastic container, just like Ashley described. But here's the thing: when I examined them closely, I noticed something interesting. 13 of the cards had tiny scratches along the edges, barely visible unless you were looking for them. All 13 were cleaning tasks: scrub the bathroom floor, clean all windows, vacuum the stairs, organize and dust bedroom. The unmarked cards. Do a silly dance, tell a joke, play video games for 30 minutes, eat something weird but harmless. The deck was rigged. Ashley had marked the cleaning cards so she could make sure Mia pulled them. I took photos of everything. The marked cards, the unmarked ones, the whole setup. My hands were shaking as I documented the evidence of my daughter's exploitation. When I confronted Ashley about it later, she made a crucial mistake. "Look, Em, I know you're upset, but it's not like I forced her to do anything. She pulled those cards fair and square." "Which cards exactly?" "You know, the cleaning ones, all of them actually. It was just bad luck." I stared at her. "All of them?" "She pulled every single cleaning card." Ashley's face went pale. "I mean, not all of them, just most of them." "Ashley, what are the odds of a kid randomly pulling only cleaning tasks out of a hat with fun activities mixed in?" She started backpedaling fast. "Okay, maybe I guided her toward certain cards, but she wanted to help. She was excited to participate." "You guided her toward marked cards." "I don't know what you're talking about." But her face told a different story. She knew exactly what I was talking about, and she knew she'd been caught. I left without another word. No yelling, no accusations, no dramatic confrontation. I just walked out. That night, I made a decision that would change everything. I canceled the automatic transfer that paid part of their mortgage. I canceled the grocery delivery service I'd been covering. I called the summer camp and removed my credit card from all 3 kids' accounts. I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. I just quietly cut off every penny and waited. By Monday morning, my phone was exploding with messages. Ashley had noticed the missing mortgage payment. My parents were confused about the grocery situation. The summer camp had called about payment issues, but I had one more card to play, and this one wasn't marked. I waited until the family group chat got activated. You know, the one that only comes alive when there's drama. 23 relatives all chiming in with their opinions about my extreme reaction to an innocent game. I let them talk. I let them pile on. I let Ashley craft her narrative about how I was punishing the whole family over a misunderstanding. I screenshotted every message defending her. Then I posted the photos. The marked cards, the unmarked cards. A detailed explanation of how my 11-year-old daughter had been systematically exploited for 5 hours while adults watched and approved. I didn't tell them what I was planning. I just quietly cut off every penny and waited. By Monday, my phone was exploding with angry messages. But I had one more card to play, and when I finally showed my hand, the whole family would see exactly what kind of game they'd been playing. Update 2, posted 5 days later. Holy shit, Reddit. The fallout has been absolutely nuclear, and I'm still processing everything that happened. So after I cut off all financial support, the family group chat exploded. We're talking about 23 relatives all weighing in on my overreaction to what Ashley was calling an innocent children's game gone slightly wrong. My Aunt Jennifer was the first to pile on. Emily, this seems extreme. It's just kids being kids. Uncle James chimed in. Family should stick together, especially during hard times. Ashley's been through enough with the divorce. My cousin Chloe added, I mean, cleaning isn't abuse. We all had chores growing up. But the worst was my own mother. Emily has always been overly sensitive about Ashley. This is just sibling rivalry carried into adulthood. I watched message after message roll in, all defending Ashley's version of events. She was playing the victim perfectly, the struggling single mom who just wanted to include her niece in family activities, now being punished by her dramatic sister who couldn't let go of childhood grudges. For 3 days, I said nothing. I let them commit fully to their narrative. I screenshotted every single message supporting Ashley and dismissing my concerns. Then, on Thursday evening, I dropped the bomb. I posted a detailed explanation in the group chat with all the photo evidence. The marked cards versus the unmarked ones. Close-up shots showing the deliberate scratches. A breakdown of exactly what each child's dares had been. This is what Ashley calls a game, I wrote. Mia was systematically targeted to pull only cleaning tasks while the other children got entertainment. She worked for 5 hours without food or breaks, then was denied dinner as punishment for not meeting cleaning standards. This wasn't an accident or bad luck, it was calculated exploitation of child labor. The chat went dead silent for about 20 minutes. Then the tide turned completely. Chloe was the first to backtrack. Oh my God, Emily, I had no idea, this is disgusting. Benjamin, another cousin, posted, this isn't a game, this is abuse. Aunt Abigail wrote, I'm so sorry, Emily, I should have listened to you first. Even Uncle James, who'd been Ashley's biggest defender, posted, this changes everything. I apologize for not taking this seriously. One by one, every single person who had criticized me posted apologies. They were horrified by the evidence, embarrassed by their initial reactions, and furious at Ashley for manipulating them. Ashley herself had gone completely silent. No defense, no explanation, no response at all. She just disappeared from the chat. But the real victory came 2 days later when she showed up at my door with all 3 of her kids in tow. Emily, we need to talk, she said, looking like she hadn't slept in days. I'm listening. The kids have something to say to Mia. What followed was the most hollow, scripted apology I've ever witnessed. Ethan mumbled something about sorry for the misunderstanding. Sophia said she didn't know it wasn't fair. Caleb just stared at his shoes. But then Mia, my brilliant daughter, looked up at them and said, if you're really sorry, you should clean my house for 5 hours like I cleaned yours. Ashley's face went white. Mia, that's not really necessary. You said it was fun, Mia interrupted. You said kids love feeling helpful, so help me clean my house. I could have kissed her right then. Instead, I looked at Ashley and said, that sounds fair. 5 hours of cleaning, just like Mia did. Consider it their apology. Ashley clearly thought this was her path back to financial support. Fine, if that's what it takes to move past this, we'll do it. What followed was the most satisfying 5 hours of my life. I watched Ashley's precious children struggle with unfamiliar chores. Ethan, who couldn't be bothered to clean his own room, spent 2 hours trying to properly vacuum my stairs. Sophia, who'd never scrubbed a bathroom in her life, got cleaning solution in her eyes and cried for 10 minutes. Ashley herself was assigned to deep clean my kitchen, and I watched her realize just how much work she'd put my daughter through. By hour 3, she was exhausted, frustrated, and begging for breaks. This is harder than I thought, she admitted. Mia didn't get breaks, I replied calmly. Meanwhile, Mia sat in the living room like a queen in her fuzzy slippers, occasionally checking their work and pointing out spots they'd missed. She was glowing with vindication. When they finally finished, Ashley looked at me expectantly. "Okay, we're done, so, about the mortgage payment and the grocery situation." That's when I delivered the final blow. "Ashley, I forgave you for what you did to Mia, but forgiveness doesn't mean funding. Those payments aren't coming back." The realization hit her like a physical blow. She'd thought one afternoon of cleaning would buy back her meal ticket. She was wrong. "But Emily, we need that money. The kids need a mother who works instead of exploiting child labor. Figure it out." She left with her children, and I haven't heard from her since. That was 8 months ago. Ashley thought one afternoon of cleaning would buy back her meal ticket. She was wrong. But the real victory wasn't watching them scrub my floors, it was watching Mia finally understand she was never the problem. Update 3, posted 8 months later. Hey Reddit. It's been a while since my last update, and honestly, I needed the time to process everything that happened. A lot of you have been asking for a final update, so here it is. First, the immediate aftermath. After Ashley realized the money wasn't coming back, my family went completely no contact with me. Not just Ashley, my parents too. Apparently, I'd destroyed the family by refusing to continue funding their dysfunction. Ashley was forced to get a part-time job at a local retail store, which she absolutely hates. She complains constantly on social media about how unfair it is that she has to work while dealing with 3 kids. My parents are struggling with their mortgage payments without my monthly contribution, and they've had to make some lifestyle changes they're not happy about. But here's what's interesting: the extended family has completely shifted their perspective. My cousins Chloe and Benjamin now reach out to me regularly, and they've been cold toward Ashley ever since the truth came out. Aunt Abigail actually called me last month to apologize again and to tell me she'd been thinking about her own childhood, wondering what manipulation she might have missed. The family gatherings are different now. When there are events, they're structured around my schedule and boundaries, not Ashley's convenience. She usually doesn't show up anyway, which honestly makes everything more pleasant for everyone. But the real transformation has been in Mia. You guys, my daughter is a completely different kid now. She has boundaries that would make most adults jealous. Last month, when a friend tried to pressure her into doing their science project, Mia just looked at them and said, "That's not how friendship works." She's confident, assertive, and no longer desperate for anyone's approval. She still does chores, obviously, but age-appropriate ones that she chooses from a list. No more games or traditions that involve exploitation. She understands now that love doesn't come with conditions or require her to earn it through labor. As for me, I've had a lot of time to reflect on the generational patterns in my family. I realized that my parents didn't just enable Ashley's behavior, they actively participated in it. They watched my 11-year-old daughter work for 5 hours without intervening because it benefited them to have free cleaning service. I don't regret cutting off the financial support. Not for a second. Some people think forgiveness means going back to the way things were, but I've learned that forgiveness without consequences just enables more abuse. Ashley needed to face the real-world results of her choices, and my parents needed to understand that their granddaughter's well-being was more important than their financial comfort. The hardest part has been dealing with relatives who think I went too far. My Uncle James still occasionally makes comments about how family should forgive and forget. But I've stopped trying to justify my decisions to people who weren't there, who didn't see the blisters on my daughter's hands or the defeated look in her eyes. I've also been thinking a lot about my own childhood and how Ashley's manipulation shaped me. I spent so many years believing that my worth was tied to how much I could do for others, how much I could give, how much I could sacrifice. Breaking that cycle meant accepting that I couldn't save Ashley from the consequences of her own actions, even if it meant losing my family of origin. The peace in our home now is incredible. Mia and I have movie nights without anyone calling to demand favors. We take weekend trips without guilt about not visiting family. We've built traditions that are actually fun instead of disguised labor. Mia sleeps peacefully in her own room, does age-appropriate chores, and never has to earn her dinner. She's learning what healthy relationships look like, and she's developing the skills to recognize manipulation when she sees it. Some relatives still think I went too far. Others say I didn't go far enough. but watching Mia laugh freely, set boundaries confidently, and trust that she's loved unconditionally tells me I made the right choice. The most important lesson I've learned is that protecting your child sometimes means disappointing adults who should know better. It means being called dramatic, extreme, or unforgiving by people who prioritize keeping the peace over keeping children safe. I'm okay with being the villain in Ashley's story if it means being the hero in Mia's. So Reddit, AITA for cutting off my family financially after they exploited my daughter. And would you have done the same thing in my position? Because 8 months later, watching my daughter thrive in an environment where she's valued for who she is rather than what she can do, I know I'd make the same choice again in a heartbeat. Thanks for following this journey with me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting free.